track that I have on the album that wasn't on the original album is called Dive In. It was produced by Juice from Soundbreaker Music. But I wanted to have a song that said, this is how I feel about this. I'm very passionate about it. The man-centered gospel, that's a huge issue. The gospel is not man-centered, it's God-centered. The gospel is the power of God. And now the power of God has been belittled down to writing your name on an invitation card and repeating a prayer after some man on a stage. Is that the power of God? Surely it's more than that. And I deal with people's low view of God in the sense that they view the gospel so low that they use it as a trampoline to get on and bounce up to more blessings and more prosperity and more health. That's a low view of the gospel. I just kind of draw out the scriptures of how Jesus dealt with a rich young ruler in Mark 10, how Peter, Paul, John the Baptist, how they preached the gospel. The gospel message is man's sinfulness, God's requirement for perfection and his just punishment on sin, God, the Son coming down in human form, fully God, fully man, living a perfect life for God's people and paying the price for their sin and raising up again. So the gospel is God. The greatest gift of the gospel is God. The gospel is the fact that we get God and we don't want stuff anymore. Paul had a lot of stuff and he called it dung, he called it trash compared to the knowledge of Christ. That's a very big deal and I wanted to address it.
Let me tell you what I don't get. It's the switch to the gifts. Getting praise in place of Jesus who's greater, man, it's a trip. I seen him dip in the pulpit steady looking for a tip. Here's a tip, tell him get saved instead of get rich. Got me sick, Jesus said pick up your cross and follow me. That's self-denial, not self-fulfillment, which is idolatry. Honestly, one said, Jesus, can I go with you? Christ said, I am homeless, and that man split like he broke in two. I'm showing you, money and things feed carnal appetites, and after lives really have the Christ, they look like trash, alright? See, I'm asking why these pastors lower the worth of Christ alone and say, he died to bring you to God and get you nicer clothes. Because Paul was a prisoner, sick, bruised, and very poor. But he rejoiced and was content and didn't ask for more. See, longing for money's evil. Don't prostitute the Holy Script, saying godliness brings financial aid when you knowing it. 1 Timothy 6, verse 5 and 6 addresses this. Godliness brings contentment, homie. That's why I'm stressing it. Because Jesus is enough. That's exactly what salvation brings. One desire for our King and never all them fancy things. Amen?
I dive in, I'm going head first. I ain't holding nothing back. Man, it's time to get to work. I dive in, I dive in, I dive in, I dive in. I'm about to get soaked, cover head and toe. Got my Babylon deck, boy, I gotta let them know. So I dive in, I dive in, I dive in.